package in the mail, MSX games from Japan. Collecting without fail those shoot 'em ups, that's the plan. He doesn't just collect them, he also codes them too. Join us and we'll go on electric adventures with you.
Hey YouTube, Electric Adventures here with a response video to Novabugs' Friday Foursome. So this month's Friday Foursome question was one of my favourite areas, shoot 'em ups. But I'm only allowed to pick 4. It's very, very hard. Very, very hard. So I've had to make some harsh choices. I'm going to cheat a little bit. We will start with a game, so number 4, and really this top 4 is completely subjective. All of these I enjoy pretty much equally as much. This one harks back to the arcades, as a lot of my choices will do. It's a game that I used to play a lot in probably the second phase of my playing arcade machines. You could always find one of these in an airport when I was travelling, as an example. So it's a later title, vertical scrolling shooter, one of my favourite types of shooters, although I am fond of horizontal as well. And it's none other than Raiden. So Raiden Arcade is the actual pick, but I've got a couple of props here as we have. So I have the Jaguar version of Raiden, and it's actually quite a decent version, very colourful. I also have the Mega Drive version of Raiden Trad, and I have a Raiden for the Super Nintendo, but I thought I'd get out probably the best home version, which is the Raiden Project. This is the Japanese copy. It has Raiden 1 and Raiden 2, and Raiden 2 is also worth playing as well. So, very, very good title. So I'll try and put a little bit of footage of each title as I show it. Of the pick. I'm not going to do all of the ones I hold up. But very enjoyable shoot 'em up. Different weapon paths that you can choose. Obviously, the original game, you have the 2 different types of weapon. You've got the blue shot, which is the laser, which is a faster, more vertical shot, and then you have the normal bullets, which are more of a spread shot. They are slower, so you do need to power them up to a certain things, and it's just like a lot of other shoot 'em ups that you can get powered all the way up, get killed and lose everything and have to fight your way back. Depending on whether you picked up one of the fairies though, and then catch the fairy after you get killed, you can pick up a lot of your weaponry again, so it does have that beginners get back into the game strategy. I can play it for quite some time, enjoy myself and get a fair way through it on just about any version. It does take a little while for the brain to adjust the different speed between the different versions. I do have an arcade board which is working graphically. Unfortunately, the sound section obviously stopped working. It was sold to me as working, but somebody tried to fix the sound section themselves, didn't do a good job. It's in my repair pile that I'll get to one day, and then it'll probably live in that cabinet over there for quite some time. Same on this. Novabug actually picked another game that I really like as well, which is Twin Cobra. Didn't quite make my list, and it's another one of my arcade PCBs that's not currently working. So, what's number 3? As I said, this is very hard reducing these games down. So I'm going to go. It's much of a muchness. So number 3 is the Gradius series, and probably my favourite in the series is actually Gradius 2 Episode 2. So all of the Gradius games came out on the MSX, and I'm going to use them as props. So you've got the original Gradius or Nemesis, and the MSX games actually have levels that all the other home ports don't have, which makes them fairly unique. And then you have Gradius 2, which really ramps it up, and you just can't believe it's an MSX1 game. Sound is great because it's got an extra sound chip in the cartridge. And then you have Episode 2, which is enhanced when you play it on higher hardware as well, and that's probably my favourite. And I actually I've got versions for the Saturn and the PC Engine and the PS2 as well. I've got Gradius on most of the platforms. I've got Gradius 3 and 4 for the PS2. I don't actually have Gradius 5 for the PS2. And I've got Gradius for the PC Engine and the Saturn as well. So it's one of my favourite series, and I can play it on the 19-in-1 horizontal multi-disc, probably just in view back there as well. So Gradius Arcade. So cheating, a little bit serious. So number 2, very hard, very hard, but it is the Aleste series of shooters. So technically they start earlier, and the last one's probably Musha Aleste for the Mega Drive, which I don't have a real copy for. I've got a pirate cartridge, so I'm not going to hold it up. I'm also not going to buy a copy unless I find it for cheap. Probably one of the best ones is Super Aleste for the Super Nintendo, and this Super Nintendo is really colourful, great machine, but a lot of the shoot 'em ups suffer from slowdown. This is not one of those. It's amazing what they get the machine to do, and this really is a great fun game. I normally keep it pretty much plugged into my Super Nintendo all the time. I think I've currently got Turrican in there at the moment, but it stays plugged in all the time. I play it on a regular basis, and it really is a good game and one of the best entries in the Aleste series. And just because I have the props were easy at hand, we have the first version of Aleste, which is on the MSX, MSX2 as well. Very colourful game. This is an extremely rare thing, a copy of this as well. It's worth a lot of money now. Very good game, cartridge based this one. Supports MSX music as well, which not all MSX systems have. Very nice game. It was actually released, the exact same game was released on the Master System as Power Strike. And don't get me wrong, it's a good game, it's just not the best game in the series. And Power Strike on the Master System does sound a little ordinary in a normal Master System, but if you put it in a Master System with an FM cartridge, you get the FM sound, which is the same sound that you get on the MSX, and it makes a big difference. The MSX version does run just a little bit faster than the Sega Master System version. And then you have Aleste 2. So I'm going to hold up another really rare item. So this is a complete copy of Aleste 2, and this takes the game to the next level. It supports MSX2 and MSX2 Plus as well. I believe you get extra colours and things like that on MSX2 Plus for this game. Wonderful music. It's a disc game. So it's very big, and really pushes the computer to the max. There is Power Strike 2, which is sort of the same game, but they changed the graphics, makes it more a little bit of a steampunk 1942 type of style instead of the original Aleste style. I don't know why they changed the graphic format. It doesn't have FM sound though, so it does get let down. This is also an extremely rare item because it was only released in Germany and Australia. So we're lucky down here in Australia to have these, so I've got a copy of that. But yeah, my favourite of the whole series is this Just Pips Super Aleste, and that is Aleste 2 for the MSX 2 and 2 Plus. And one of the rarest items in my collection, worth the most money. Well, it's not the item that is worth the most money in my collection. So, number 1. And this wouldn't come to a lot of surprise to a lot of people, considering how often I do gameplays and talk about it all the time, but it's none other than Time Pilot Arcade. Now, a recent addition to my home port collection is Vector Pilot for the Vectrex, which is very good. Slightly different game style. I'm absolutely rubbish at it. You have the ColecoVision port, which actually plays quite well. It only has 4 of the stages. It's missing the UFO stage. There is a version for the MSX which is different from the Coleco one, which is a bit sort of a surprise. I've only got a loose cartridge of that, not the box. It actually doesn't play as well as the Coleco one though. It's a bit disappointing. It looks slightly better, sort of, but not really. And yeah, it misses the mark. There's also a very interesting version for the Atari 2600. Very primitive graphics, but it actually doesn't do a too bad a job of simulating the game. And there are a couple of other versions around, but the best one, of course, is the arcade game. It's the arcade game that I have played the most during my life, I would say. I'm very lucky to have a dedicated cocktail cabinet back there with Time Pilot in it, and it truly is a game that I play just about every time I turn on these arcade machines. I pretty much always have a game of Time Pilot, and so yep, it has to be my favourite. So they are my top 4 shoot 'em ups. What are yours? Feel free to make your own video, make a response, but make sure you go watch Novabug's video and let him know that you've made him a response as well. So it's all in good fun and a good way of seeing items in people's collections, or just what they're interested in. You don't have to have a physical copy of the game to play it and like it in your collection. Emulators are a thing nowadays, and it's very practical for a lot of people. Alright, I'm Electric Adventures. Thanks to all my subscribers. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.
信します。